what's up you guys? I'm Sarah Labrat, and today's video is a reading, writing, and travel vlog where I tried to switch out reading for Netflix. Binge watching is something that I do a lot, and I want to stop because as much as I love consuming content, I do it mindlessly instead of intentionally. And binge watching is majorly counterproductive, and it's not what I want to be accomplishing in a day. Basically, what I'm going to be doing today is switching out my Netflix and most of my YouTube watching for things like reading and rereading my Project DE, which is the book that I'm currently rereading that I wrote that I can rewrite hopefully soon as I finish the rereading portion. I did try to do this a couple of weeks ago. I was in my apartment for the weekend. I didn't have any plans to see other people, so it only lasted for like 3 or 4 hours, which was like solid. But then as soon as I opened Netflix was open for 6 hours. So basically I'm currently on vacation, and so this is going to be a little bit different, but I think that this is what I needed because I failed with my attempt a few weeks ago. I think that what I needed was just like a break in my routine. This is that. I'm here with my family. I'm going to be doing some hiking. We'll be going out to dinner and stuff, so there will be enough moving around so that with my downtime I can easily read or work on rereading my book and feel super productive. And I feel like it's even more crucial for me to use that downtime towards productive things instead of watching YouTube or Netflix, because I will have less of that time. And then if this goes well, which I'm sure it's going to because I've set myself up for success, I will probably try this again when I'm back at my apartment, but I just need to like prove to myself that I can. And so that's what this video is all about. And so let's get into the rereading, the reading, and kind of like traveling today. This is kind of like a day in my life on vacation, where I'm also switching out Netflix and YouTube for reading and other productive things. Right off the bat, I am going to say that I did pull up YouTube to watch the video that I posted today because it's supposed to be really good for the YouTube algorithm, that as soon as you post a video or as soon as it goes live, you watch it all the way through, you hit the like button because that's another view, that's another like. The YouTube algorithm really likes that. And so it's still playing right down there. I'm not really watching it, but as soon as that stops, I'm going to unhook myself from the Wi-Fi to make it harder for me to actually get on and watch Netflix or YouTube. I'm also going to say right now that the only exception for this rule is if my parents choose to watch Designated Survivor tonight, because I will want to watch that with them because they're super into watching that show right now. I've kind of gotten in on it with them, and I'm going to choose to not count that because I will be watching it with other people instead of like binge watching alone. And so therefore, if we watch a couple episodes tonight, it will be after dinner, which means that I'm basically just trying to get through dinner-ish with this whole Netflix YouTube thing. And then after that, if we choose to watch some Designated Survivor, that's gonna be okay. Okay, so I started filming at about 9 o'clock this morning, and then I went and did some rereading of my Project DE, which is the book that I'm rereading before I do the rewrite. But now it's about 10 o'clock, and so we're gonna go to breakfast. Just got back from a 2-hour hike. We ended up doing 4 miles, I believe, and it was awesome. It's almost 2 o'clock, and considering that it's almost 2 o'clock, we have not had lunch yet. So we're gonna go to lunch in like half an hour. But until then, I would normally open up my computer and watch a YouTube video or a Netflix show or a movie or something. But instead of doing that, I'm going to, I think, work on rereading more of my Project DE. We actually got a notification that our table was ready, and so pretty much as soon as I stopped filming that last clip, we went to lunch, and now we're just getting back, and it's now 3 o'clock. We have half an hour until our time slot at the pool starts. Because of the whole virus thing, they're portioning out how many people can be at the pool, and so our pool slot starts in half an hour. So with this last half hour before we go do that, I'll be doing some rereading, and then when we go to the pool, I'll be doing some reading. I feel like my hair is getting flatter and flatter as the day goes on. I think it's just getting tired, but in reality, it's probably the lack of humidity up here. Because if I have not mentioned that yet, I'm in Utah right now with my family. We're in the mountains, and so it's really, really dry, and so my hair is flat. which is a rare occurrence here. Anyways, it is now about 40 or 50 pages later. We just got back from the pool. This is the book that I'm reading. It's really good so far. I'm a little over halfway now, which I'm excited about. And I've done a very good job about staying off of YouTube and Netflix today. Also have not had as much downtime as I was anticipating that we would have. However, this is still a good trial run for me because even right after we came back from the pool, I needed to be getting ready for dinner, which we're gonna go to in just a few minutes here. But while I was getting ready and stuff, I wanted to like pull up a video and just like have it running in the background. And I think that one of my issues is that I don't like silence when I'm getting ready for things. Normally on like any given weekend when I'm at my apartment and I don't have anything planned, I'll pull up Netflix and I will just binge watch Netflix until like 3 p.m. when I realize that I've been laying on my couch all freaking day, and then feel bad but not be able to shake like the lethargic bug or whatever you want to call it, the lethargy, whatever that like weird feeling you get when you've been like laying on the couch binge watching all day. That's such a hard thing to shake, and it just feels very unintentional. Whereas reading at the pool, working on rereading my book, those are both intentional things that I'm trying to get better at and I'm trying to spend more time on because those are the things that matter to me. While I am all for consuming art of any kind, including TV shows and YouTube, I love YouTube, don't get me wrong, but I think Netflix is where I really get sucked in too much because of the autoplay feature. Also, the autoplay feature on YouTube is just like sucks you into a black hole. Whereas reading or working on my creative projects feel much more intentional, and I feel much better when I work on those things and spend my time on those things. Like, I know that I was also out in the sun, but even spending some time reading this outside for a little bit, I just feel calmer and much more relaxed than I would have if I had had something playing in the background, like if I had brought headphones out and like had something running while I was laying out by the pool. Also, when I tried to do this experiment a couple of weeks ago, I decided to delete most of my social media for it, and most of that social media is still deleted off of my phone, and so I feel like I'm checking my phone less, which is awesome, as like an awesome byproduct of what's I'm trying to do, because I check my phone less. I have responded to a few text messages. I have made a couple notes on my phone while we were hiking because I had ideas for my project DE. And while I didn't love pulling my phone out while we were hiking, I did know that if I didn't write it down, I wasn't gonna remember it. And then this morning, as comments were rolling in off of posting the video this morning, I have checked the YouTube Studio app a couple of times just to like respond to comments, because I really try to respond to all of the comments that are left on my videos. And so it did take some time to do that, but I feel like because I have not had internet on my computer because I did not hook up the Wi-Fi, and I don't really watch Netflix or YouTube on my phone, and I've had my book, and so far today I feel like this has gone very, very well. One of the main reasons that I'm trying to do this little experiment for myself and kind of like on a day that I have less free time is because I've been in such a bad reading slump. I have not finished a book in probably about 2 or 3 years because of school. School had just like absolutely butchered my love of reading just because I had to do so much reading for school. And so now I really feel like trying this today while I'm on vacation and we were hiking and going out to eat and everything. The time that I did have that was downtime, I was able to channel towards these things and then feel really, really good about it instead of just like having 12 hours in a day that I need to fill, which is a standard weekend. However, now I get to go to dinner and I will check in with you guys after.
Grounds too warm.
I don't know if you can. Yeah?
1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay, Jibber.
You guys are great.
Alright, we're now back from dinner. It's like 7:30. The sun is going down right now. We also made a run to the grocery store, and so it's almost time to eat ice cream and watch Designated Survivor on Netflix with my parents. But while I'm waiting for them to be ready for that, I'm going to take this time and do some more rereading on my project DE, and then I'll give my thoughts and how I want to apply this moving forward.
Please, keep your seats.
Okay, now it is the next day, and I wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts and kind of what I gathered and how I want to apply some of the things that I learned to the future in just an attempt to be a more productive human being and binge watch less. Not completely cutting it out, just less. I've been in a bit of a reading slump for like 3 years. Honestly, I have not finished reading a book for fun in like a solid 3 years. So that's a huge reason that when I tried this a couple weeks ago, it was so hard for me, was because I had the entire day with no plans. And then I decided to just cut out YouTube and Netflix with the intention of replacing that with reading. However, the whole like not being super driven to read recently, again, the past like 3 years, was like really got to me after like the first like 2 or 3 hours. And then I like open Netflix and just watch Netflix for the rest of the day. So I think it's all about moderation, especially with the fact that I'm trying to get back into reading. And on this trip, we've come to Utah a lot, and I came to Utah a lot growing up. And I would always have a book with me everywhere we went, even like sometimes when we would go skiing, even though I wouldn't actually be able to read it, I would like tuck it into my jacket in like an inside pocket or something. I think I brought my Kindle with me, not an actual book because the Kindle was skinny enough, but I would just have a book with me constantly. And so I think I just needed to try this experiment out here where I used to read a ton. In like absolutely any downtime I would be reading, I would just like curl up on a couch or on a bed somewhere and just like read until like someone came and got me because we had to go to dinner or something. That's just like what I did, was read a ton. I would read books in like 2 or 3 days, which I know a lot of you can do, and I used to be able to do, and I'm trying to get back into that. But I think that trying to switch out Netflix and YouTube for reading while being in Utah with other people was really beneficial because we went out to eat, we were active, and then when the evening came around and my parents did want to watch some Designated Survivor, it was a group activity, and we would like pause it occasionally and try to like guess what's gonna happen next, who we thought was still a good guy, who we thought might be a bad guy now. Like, it's just like fun, and it causes discussion, and that seems a lot more worthwhile than just like laying on my couch binge watching Friends, The Office, or Parks and Rec, so something's on in the background. I think that being successful with this challenge experiment thing yesterday, even though I did not have a ton of downtime, was really beneficial because now I know that I can do that. However, it does help if I have other things going on, like I'm going to see people, like I'm going out to eat, maybe even like going to work or being active. Like there are other things in a day that also help me not binge watch, and that way I don't feel like an insane amount of pressure to just read constantly all day long. However great that would be, I'm just not in that place quite yet. Normally on a weekend or something, which is when this gets really, really bad, I would open Netflix or YouTube while I'm eating breakfast and would stretch out my meals because of it. I was like distracted eating. I just wanted something else going on while I'm eating, which there's nothing inherently wrong with, I don't think. However, the issue is when I keep it on for hours after a meal and don't even realize it until like my back starts hurting or something, and then I stand up and I look at the time and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been 4 hours. So I mentioned a little bit that the reading slump that I'm in was caused by school, and that's I think because I was an English major. I absolutely loved being an English major, but at the same time you have to do so much reading for school. Like one semester I took a Shakespeare class and we had to read 14 of his plays in one semester, and so like that's a lot. And it just kind of took the joy out of reading for me, which is what I'm trying to like find again. And because of schooling and having to read for homework and stuff, when I was done with my homework for the day, I wouldn't want to just turn to another book, open up another book and keep reading. I would turn to Netflix or YouTube and just have that playing on in the background because it was more mindless. I didn't have to read it. It was just easier. And so I turned to Netflix and YouTube as my sources of relaxation instead of reading. So basically what my takeaways are is that it would be very easy for me to help limit my binge watching if I made an effort to see people, which I understand is hard with what's going on, but I could still FaceTime people. I could still give people like a call or something. There are ways around it. So basically, if I see people, if I'm active, so if I go for a walk, if I go work out, there are things that like help take away time that I would otherwise use to binge watch. I think that's kind of like the two biggest takeaways, and then a third would potentially be to like try to do this on days where I work and stuff too, just so that I don't get home from work and then immediately turn on Netflix and then don't turn it off until I have to go to bed. So I think that just portioning out my day into like healthier chunks is the best way to continue healthy habits moving forward. I am interested in trying this over a weekend or something, or a weekend day, maybe not a whole weekend yet, but a weekend day or something with a little bit more structure so that it's not just like 12 or 14 hours of being awake that I need to fill. So yeah, those are my takeaways. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm Sarah Lebrat. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up because it really supports my channel by telling the YouTube algorithm that you liked my video and that someone else might too. Down in the comments below, I want you guys to let me know either what you're reading right now, if you've ever dealt with a reading slump, how you got out of it, and if you have not already, make sure you scroll down below, hit that big red subscribe button and that little notification bell next to it because I post videos twice a week on Mondays and Thursdays, and so I'll see you guys next time with another video. Bye!